Dlatego!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Ferret 64 with me, your host, Yemmy the Ferret. Hope you're all doing fantastic this week. This is the one-stop shop for video game news, occurrences, first impressions, and so much more. It's probably going to be a bit of a quick episode today because I hope you've been having a better week than me. My power was off for like 4 days since Tuesday, and it just came on this morning. So yeah, about 4 days. We had a massive storm roll through. The power was out. The internet was out, and I was afraid that it was going to take longer than a week to get everything fixed. But here I am, knock on wood, because you never know what's going to happen. Oops, I shouldn't have knocked on wood actually. Yeah, we're here. Like I said, it's probably going to be a bit of a breezy, kind of quick podcast episode here. I just wanted to get one out, explain to you where I've been because the stream stopped pretty abruptly on Tuesday. Tornado sirens are going off. We went into the basement. I paused the stream, put it on BRB, and I came back. We came back like 5 minutes later. The siren stopped. It seemed to calm down outside, but then almost as soon as I started streaming again, everything picked back up, and we decided best to just shut everything off, go downstairs, and good thing I did because the storm intensified, and the power went out, and there we were in the basement. It was crazy windy out. I think there was 80-mile-per-hour winds. We were in something called a macro burst. Still not sure exactly what it is, but whatever. But anyway, let's start off. Even though I didn't have power, I was still able to, get some video games. So we'll start off with that, and then we'll head on into the rest of the episode. So what have I picked up this past week? Like I said, I still could at least buy video games while I was out of power. I only bought technically 3 of these games. I bought on like eBay. Before the power went out. 2 of these games, though, which are pretty obvious, I bought while the power was off, and we were just kind of like bored. So the first game that I got off of eBay was the Assassin's Creed Chronicles Collection. The reason why I picked this up, 1, it's sealed, which is really nice, and 2, these games were digital only for quite some time, and I did not know that there was a physical version of the game available, and I felt like this was a pretty good idea to grab up, especially because I have most of the other Assassin's Creed games physically anyways. It was only like $17 plus shipping, so it wasn't that bad at all. I thought that it would be a nice thing to have just in case down the road for whatever reason these become unavailable. Now I have a physical version, so I never have to worry about that. Also, I liked the first one. I've only played the first one, Assassin's Creed Chronicles China. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a pretty good spin on the Assassin's Creed series. So there you go. The next one here is a bit of a meme. Once again, this is a game that I had in my collection, and then I sold it. That's Lost Via Domus. It's a video game here. I had this on Xbox 360, so I did not have the PS3 version. But I thought, because I'm more of a PS3 collector, I thought I might as well pick it up on PS3 instead. I had this on the Xbox 360. I don't believe there's trophies on the PlayStation version, but the Xbox 360 had a group of like really easy achievements. So this was actually next to the Peter Jackson's King Kong game. This was one of the first games that I ever 100%ed Lost Via Domus. But I wanted to get this back in my collection. 1, because back in the day I was big into Lost. But the other reason is because it's kind of funny to have this game in your collection. And then finally, for the games that I bought on eBay this past week, I got Power Gig Rise of the Sixth String. So if you don't know, this is a rhythm game, of course, where they actually sold a like almost real guitar along with it. Because kind of like the Rock Band 3 Pro mode, where you could actually use like a 6-string guitar to play songs, kind of rudimentary, but you could play them. This actually came with a 6-string guitar. I'm pretty sure this came in a box with something else because it says not for resale at the bottom. But essentially, you can still use a regular guitar to play it, like a Guitar Hero 3 guitar, you know. The perspective's a little bit different, but it actually, unlike Rock Revolution and a couple of those other, throwaway games, this one actually has real songs that are the original recordings, which is why I want to try it out. You know, we got a Bad Religion on here, Black Label Society, Black Sabbath, Breaking Benjamin, Disturbed, Eric Clapton, Godsmack, Incubus, Jane's Addiction, Kid Rock, oh boy, Korn, and Lucina Coil, Mastodon, stuff like that. So lots of cool lots of cool bands on there. Also, apparently, Eric Clapton, Kid Rock, and the Dave Matthews Band, newly Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees, Dave Matthews Band, exclusive artists to this game. So I'll probably play it when I have the Xbox 360 out and I'm playing a different game for like streamers or something like that. But I thought, it was only like $2 on eBay. Obviously, the game case isn't in the best condition, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, as long as the game itself runs, I don't really mind. But yeah, I thought it was kind of funny. You can buy it for $2 on eBay, so I just decided to pick it up. And then I bought 2 games from a place called Half Price Books, and I still have the sticker on for these. I need to get those off. But the first one is Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars for the PSP. This is the Greatest Hits edition. And they were selling it for $20, which is about the same price as you can get online. They obviously know what they have when a game gets sold to them, because yeah, it wasn't like too crazy. I wasn't a huge fan of how the disc looked when I picked it up, but I just wanted to put this into my collection because it's a pretty infamous one. And then, speaking of infamous games, I picked Condemned 2 Bloodshot up at Half Price Books as well. And apparently they originally bought it at my other store that I usually buy games from. But Condemned 2 Bloodshot, when I was in the store, it doesn't have a manual, unfortunately. When I was in the store, I looked on eBay, and this was selling for like $30 to $40. I got home and I looked at eBay, and actually it was selling for about $15. So I got a little bit of a cheapo with $10, but I think I might have jumped the gun on this one a little bit. But that being said, maybe kind of a cool game. Maybe we'll stream that in the future for Halloween or something like that. There you go. All right, let's move on to what have I been playing this past week. What have I been playing this past week? I've been offline for most of it. I was playing Thank Goodness You Are Here, which was a point-and-click game that came out last week, or maybe even the week before. I don't remember exactly. I was interested in it because it was kind of goofy, there's lots of little Monty Python-esque British dry humor jokes in there, and the animation was solid. The little cartoon characters didn't look too bad. But the game was a little bit bare bones in terms of mechanics. Essentially, it was literally just like move with the joystick and kick with X. Your little dude kicks things, and that's how you solve all the puzzles in the game. It's either kicking or pushing. And it did get a bit not obnoxious, but just a little bit, boring as you went through, because that was pretty much all you did, was just kick and move. But the story and the humor kind of led the way with this one. I guess it's not like a super big deal that the gameplay itself was not as crazy as I was hoping it was going to be. I mean, maybe not crazy, but just like something more going on, right? And there were some pretty bizarre things that happened. There were some pretty funny things that happened. Little goofs and gags all the way through it. All in all, I gave it like a 3.5 out of 5. I thought it was decent enough. Just the gameplay left me wanting more with the game, essentially. Other than that, I really haven't been playing much this week. I was playing a little bit of this Napoleon Dynamite video game on my PSP. It's a little mini game collection that loosely follows the story of the movie. I don't really have much to say about it other than never play it ever. It is bad. I'm probably going to be finishing it up this coming few days here, but it is so bad. I don't even know. I don't even know how it made it to market, but it's a PSP game. It's not available. I don't believe it's available on PS2 or anything else. But even if it is, don't buy it. The controls are wacky. The games take way too long to learn. It's not like a quick oh, you can jump in and just play this one. No, you have to read like 5 to 6 pages of text detailing how the game works and how it controls because they're so obnoxiously designed. And it's also very ugly. It's a very ugly game. It doesn't play too well. Yeah, it's not good. Don't play it. I'm gonna finish it because I'm right there at the end, but don't play it. I don't know why I chose that game to play while the power was off, but hey, that's sometimes we just make weird decisions, don't we? Other than that, yeah, I didn't play anything else. I've been reading essentially, I do want to dedicate more time to maybe like an hour a day to read something, because I think it was good for the soul while I was sitting around not knowing what to do. So, but that's not going to impact my gaming at all. If the power goes out again, yeah, that'll impact my gaming. But as of right now, you know, um, it shouldn't be too bad. But there are a couple of games on my list to play. Obviously, we're still playing Wario Land 3 on stream. We'll probably finish that up either Monday or Tuesday. And I also really want to play SteamWorld Heist 2, which I'll probably be playing after I edit this. So, yeah, that's about it for that. Sorry, folks. Let's go ahead and move on to what's in the news. Once again, we're trying to keep it short this week, so I cherry-picked a couple things that I thought were interesting. If you think I missed something, I guess let me know, and I'll talk about it next time. But first up, Ready at Dawn was closed down by Meta. So essentially, Ready at Dawn, the studio known for The Order 1886, the PSP God of War games, Daxter, which recently came over to PlayStation Plus or the PlayStation services, and a port of Okami to the Nintendo Wii. They also made Deformers, which was a game that I actually played quite a bit back in the day. It was only really bumping for maybe less than a month, but I got the Platinum Trophy on it, and I got the Collector's Edition, which came with like 4 little figurines of the little dudes in the game, and you essentially tried. It was almost like a demolition derby, where you knocked into people and you tried to knock them off or shoot them like with the little spit gun to destroy them. I mean, it was kind of fun, but obviously, it didn't last for too long. But yeah, they're most known, I guess, at this point for the Order 1886, which never got its conclusion or sequel. But Meta closed them immediately, I guess. They didn't really lay them off, or I guess they laid them off and closed it on the same day. They were working on VR games for quite some time, and Meta said that they wanted to close the studio to ensure that Reality Labs can stay within its budgetary constraints and have a better long-term impact in VR development. So yeah, back in 2020, for whatever reason, Sony let the Ready at Dawn go, because say what you want about the Order's like gameplay and mechanics and blah blah blah. The game looked great. They knew how to use the PS4 and they knew how to like get the best out of the hardware, and they just kind of let them go. And maybe it's because they didn't want to pay the price, or maybe because the Order 1886 really didn't perform the way that they wanted to, so they just said whatever. But in the end, I think that PlayStation definitely should have bought the studio so that they could keep utilizing their talents at least in the visual graphics department. And obviously there's no lack in good-looking PS5 games or PS4 games at this point, but yeah, it's just a bit unfortunate that the studio never really reached their potential. I mean, they made some good games in the past. Like, I do enjoy the PSP God of War games. I hear good things about Daxter all the time. So it's unfortunate they never really reached their peak. Like, I feel like a sequel to the Order 1886 probably would have fixed a lot of things that people had gripes about, including myself, about the game. People are saying though that they should acquire Ready at Dawn to make PSVR 2 games, which, if that's what they've been doing, VR games for the meta consoles over the past 3-4 years, hey, pick them up. Come on, first party PSVR games might sell now that the console is selling better. All right, moving on. God of War Ragnarok. The PC requirements have been detailed, and they are as follows. The minimum requirements for 1080p, 30 FPS, low settings with a NVIDIA GTX 1060 or AMD RX 5500, Intel i5 processor, or an AMD Ryzen 3 1200, 8 gigabytes of RAM, Windows 10 64-bit, and 190 gigabytes of storage. The recommended settings are 1080p at 60 FPS, medium settings with an NVIDIA RTX 2060 Super, AMD RX 5700, an Intel i5 8600, or an AMD Ryzen 5 3600, 16 gigabytes of RAM, Windows 10 64-bit with 190 gigabytes. If you want the ultra version of the game, if you want to do ultra settings, 4K at 60 FPS, ultra settings, they want you to use an NVIDIA RTX 4070 or an AMD RX 9700, an Intel i5 CPU, and an AMD Ryzen 7 3700X, 16 gigabytes of RAM, Windows 10, and 190 gigabytes of standard storage. So yeah, if you want the best out of it all, obviously you're gonna go with those ultra settings. But the performance mode seems pretty good too. You'll still run it at 4K and 60 FPS, but maybe save your computer a little bit of power. They also said that I believe mod support would be available at the start, or maybe Steam Workshop mods, something like that. But the PC version of the game is set to arrive on the 19th of September, and if you want to check that out, that'll be available soon. Dead Rising's remaster, called Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. They are taking out the erotica photos. So if you don't know, you earn PP in the game by taking pictures of things like groups of zombies, gore, funny things like zombies with cones on their heads or in wheelchairs and like that. You know, lots of different ways to earn extra PP, which is prestige points. But in the old game, you would get if you took a photo of like an upskirt or a woman's boobs or a close up of their ass or something, you would get an erotica score, and you would earn extra points for that. Now in the new version of the game, they've included like the camera stuff is all back, and all the gore and extra points you can get for that stuff is back, but the erotica photos are not going to be they're not going to give off prestige points anymore. And Capcom said that it's not appropriate in game anymore, I guess you could say. But yeah, I mean it's been 20 years since the original game released. This is a remaster of the game. You know, I don't know. I feel like the erotica photos, I mean, I don't know. You could just equal it out for like men and women. Like if you take a close up of a dude's junk or a bare chest, you know, have erotica or ass have an erotica thing as well. Just kind of maybe just even it out instead of taking it out completely. Because I feel like most people aren't going to like the idea of taking something that was in the game and taking it out, no matter how minor it maybe could be. Capcom did say they're incorporating a lot of the quality of life features like modern controls, auto-saving, and being able to walk and shoot. But they're largely staying true to the original experience overall. So there you go. So that just kind of adds on top of the fact that there's a couple things that people have been kind of, iffy about. Including the voice actor not returning to play Frank West, and now of course this erotica thing being taken out completely is also probably going to cause a bit of commotion. Me personally, I don't care either way. Personally, I'm kind of just like I'm kind of fence sitting on this one because like, do I really care that I can't take a close? Like, you can still take the close-up photo of a girl's boobs or butt in the game or whatever you want to do, but it's just not going to give you points. So I'm not like super like angry about it. Like, I'm not like oh, I'm not buying this game because I can't get PP points. I can't make my PP hard by taking PP pictures with my PP camera. But there is a bit of like that campy, fun horror stuff in there. Taking a close up of a zombie girl in a revealing outfit, get some erotica bonus points in there for whatever reason. I don't know. I do feel like it does take a little bit away from the experience just because in the original game it was just like you got points for everything essentially. But I don't know. What do you think? If you want to chat in the comments below, I'd appreciate some outside opinions. But on this one, I could go either way. I really don't mind it being in it, but I also don't mind it being out of it. Obviously, I'm not a female, so I'm not gonna have like a super, you know, I'm not gonna have an opinion from that perspective. But personally, I mean, there's much worse things in games. I mean, I mean, look at the Last Descendant and its outfits. You know, there's a couple worse things in gaming. Not worse, but more like scandalous things in gaming. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Okay, Balatro has officially sold over 2 million copies. It's getting it got a physical edition, which might have boosted those copies a little bit. They revealed in the celebration for 2 million that there is a gameplay update coming in 2025, which is the first of 3 major updates to the game. It's going to be completely free, and it's going to change up some gameplay, get some new strategies put into the game, etc. I haven't played Balatro in a little bit, but I would like to get back to it, play a few more rounds. Really enjoyed the game when I played it. Obviously, it's a very addicting game. They also confirmed that they will never use Balatro as a money-making scheme. They're never going to use it as a gambling game. It's never going to be turned into a gambling game. They use the idea of, blackjack and whatever, poker. I'm sorry, poker. But they don't have any actual money. It's not based around any of that kind of thing. They reaffirmed their stance. We're never going to be using it for actual money, gambling for actual money. It's all based on the roguelike deck building experience, which is nice. So yeah, congratulations to them for 2 million copies, obviously deserved. And we'll see what the update truly entails in the coming months. Okay, let's switch over to what's coming soon. Quidditch Champions is coming around sooner rather than later. I believe it's coming in September. And actually, if you don't know, the game will be made available day one with PlayStation Plus, the Essentials tier, which is pretty crazy. So the 3rd of September, you'll be able to boot this up on a PlayStation or buy it on any other system. It'll have a full single-player campaign and also no microtransactions included from day one. In a recent trailer put out on PlayStation's YouTube channel, obviously it's coming to other places as well, like Xbox and Switch, they showed off the different arenas that you can play the game in, including Buxbaton's Academy of Magic, which I guess is like a French-themed house or wizard school, I guess maybe, I don't know. Of course, Hogwarts, you'll be able to play at Hogwarts. I believe there's a couple different maps at Hogwarts for each of the schools, like Hufflepuff and whatever. And then also they showed off Durmstrang Institute of Magic, which is kind of like a Nordic kind of theme, has a Nordic kind of theme to it, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool looking. Now, I mean, I'm not like super into Harry Potter or Quidditch per se. Obviously, there's a couple different positions that you need to play as, and I think they'll have training for each position. Obviously, everyone remembers the Seeker, which is what Harry Potter played in the books and in the movie. Yeah, I guess it'll be interesting to see how this game plays. There's a lot of positive feedback coming from the beta for the game, a closed beta for the game. I believe if you pre-ordered the game, you could, of course, play the beta. But yeah, at this point, I'm just kind of excited to see what's gonna be like. And since it's gonna be practically for free on PlayStation Plus at no extra cost, I'll definitely be playing it when that comes around. Vampire Survivors is finally coming to the PS4 and PS5 later this year. There's an official release date now. You don't have to wait too long. August 29th, 2024. If you don't know what Vampire Survivors is, I guess you've been living under a rock for the past 2 years. But essentially, it's a game where you kind of just your character auto shoots and you drag them around a screen, trying to kill as many freaking things as you can, right? And the game was pretty popular. Even last year, it was still getting numbers, and now they're finally bringing it over to PlayStation. All of the DLC for the game will be available to purchase day one, along with the base game, if you want to check that out. So yeah, Vampire Survivors coming soon. All right, Gory Cuddly Carnage has a demo out on the PlayStation right now. If you don't know what this game is, essentially you play as a cat on a hoverboard that can slice and dice things in half. And these like crazy, not really animatronic, but like kind of crazy demonic slash animatronic toys come to life, and you got to cut them down with your crazy skateboard or hoverboard. So the game does have a demo out right now, and the game officially will release across mostly all platforms the 29th of August. And I've been kind of interested in this ever since I played it at PAX East a couple years ago. I think it was 2019. No, it was 2020 that I played it. It looks, I mean, obviously the game was a little bit rough when I played it, but it's gotten, 3 years of, 3 years of work on it, development work. So I am interested in seeing how it plays. And if you want to check out a demo of the game, you can do that right now. Castlevania is coming to Dead by Daylight. You can play as both Trevor Belmont and or Dracula. So Trevor Belmont is like a skin for a survivor. You try, you obviously need to escape the main bad guy walking around. On August 27th, you will also be able to play as Dracula from the Castlevania series. He kind of looks like the Dracula from Symphony of the Night. I guess that's the most famous version of him, I would say. They didn't really go into a deep dive of what his powers will be, but I'm guessing he has some sort of like claw strike. He can transform into a bat or a wolf, apparently. Other than that, we really don't know what he's capable of, but that's already enough probably to make most people excited. That is coming. New Castlevania characters coming to Dead by Daylight on August 27th. Speaking of spooky things, A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead does have an official release date now. The October 17th, it'll be available. There will be physical and digital copies of the game for about $30. The digital version, at least. I don't know if the physical version is going to be a little bit more expensive. Probably not. If you pre-order the game, you get exclusive concept art, a creature animation showcase in the game, and a bonus hospital care package containing 3 inhalers and 2 batteries for use during your playthrough, which are probably some standard consumables that you get along the way. I'm kind of interested in this. Obviously, it seems like it's going to be kind of a cool experience, hopefully. But it might be, it's probably like a survival type game. Probably no real combat in it other than the places that they want you to have combat in. Now we know the official release date, which is the October 17th. I talked about this game a while back called Caravan Sandwich. Essentially, in the first trailer, they only showed you like in a little caravan van and driving around on like a planet. But apparently, there's some sci-fi elements in it where you actually land on the planet with your van and you are up in space and you land on the planet, which is kind of cool. They did officially give a release window for it, which is September 2024, so next month. We'll see when it officially releases soon, I suppose. Speaking of space, Space Marine 2 gave us a look at the multiplayer modes that will be included in the game at launch. There is a PvE mode where you can go on operations with players cooperatively. You can fight side by side, wading through enemies and boss encounters. You're tasked with completing various objectives. Kind of cool. I like that idea. Hopefully there's like a horde mode as well, which would also be really cool, kind of Gears of War like. And then if you want the Gears of War experience, you can also do PvP, where there's a couple of traditional multiplayer modes for you to choose from with both round-based and team-based objectives. So you have your 4v4 modes with tactical fighting. You have your capture the flag modes, etc., etc. And the gameplay that they've shown off looks really good. Definitely can't wait to try this out when it comes around. When does it come around? On September 9th, so it's not too far away. The game's looking really good, so if you want to pre-order that, make sure you do that now, or if you're waiting for the game to release, I understand too. That's coming September 9th. Speaking of multiplayer offerings, Splitgate 2 showed off its new multiplayer stuff. Obviously, Splitgate 1, the main thing about that was you essentially threw portals, and that's how you kind of got the advantage on other players. Now they're switching it up a little bit. You still have the portals, obviously, but there's a new system of like classes, I guess. Each class kind of using a different weapon and has different techniques. So the Arios class is a fast-paced faction that prioritizes kills thanks to higher movement speed. The Meridian faction is a healer role. You'll be able to heal and revive allies, as well as spot enemies from afar. And then there's the third one, and the final one is the Sabrask, which is a tank faction. You'll be able to put up defensive shields and overpower enemies with sticky grenades. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea to put in a bit of a class system. The original Splitgate is a little bit bare bones in terms of its like weapon usage, obviously. So having classes in there change up the gameplay a little bit. I think I like that idea. It's not a hero shooter as some people thought. It's just a class-based shooter now at this point, which I think is good. It gives a little bit something for everyone. And who knows, maybe they'll add some more classes in there in the future through free updates. But yeah, Splitgate 2 is coming around. I guess they don't have a release date for it yet, but you can watch a live stream presentation on August 14th. Twitch.tv/Splitgate. The Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster Collection is getting a new version on both PS4 and Switch. Essentially, they're reprinting the games. If you pre-order the game now, you will receive the game by... They didn't have a release window, but you can pre-order the game now if you so desire on multiple different places. Here it is, October 8th. I apologize, I didn't see that. October 8th. The orders are limited 2 per customer, so you're not able to, well, I guess not as easily able to grab multiple copies. They're going to be sold for $74.99, which is pretty crazy. That is like at least $20 more than it should be sold for. I don't know what they're thinking. Obviously, having the higher price is gonna make it so that not as many people order them. Of course, people are gonna be a bit more hesitant in ordering them, so it's probably gonna inflate the price of the collection post-launch. Which I guess this is my Yemmy tip for collectors of the day. If you want a game that's guaranteed to go up in price, Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster Collection for $80. But the problem is that I think that it's overpriced to begin with. And obviously, if it doesn't sell well, the people who did buy copies are going to have a gold mine in the future. But personally, I don't even know if I want to even think about getting this because it's such an abhorrent price. It's such a bad price for this collection. I mean, there's 8 games in total, 7 games in total. 6 games. There's 6 games in total. They're all the old school Final Fantasy games, which say what you want, but 6 pixel art games being released on one cartridge. I mean, it should be at least $60, maybe even cheaper. But here we are in the year 2024, and they're nickel and diming you for no reason. Oh, but you get a free sticker sheet with every order. Whoa, that makes it so worth it. I rolled my eyes to the audio listeners out there. Okay, let's move on. The Exit 8. This is a game that came out on Steam earlier this year, kind of a creepy game where you walk down a hallway in a metro, and things change ever so slightly every time you walk down the hallway. It got shadow dropped on PS4, PS5, Xbox, and Switch recently, so you can now buy it for $4. It's a very interesting kind of game. They kind of base it off of the PT game that came out a while ago from Hideo Kojima. Just kind of like, kind of the creepiness, the subtle creepiness in there, the changing environment every time you go past or through the corridor. I do have this on Steam, I'm pretty sure, so I'll probably be playing it for the Halloween streams. It seems like a quick, like, one stream kind of game. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. I'm excited in checking that out. And apparently was made by the same people as The Street, which is kind of the same thing. People are also hoping that with the boom of excitement for the game, maybe they'll do like a VR version. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But as of right now, you can buy the Exit 8 on pretty much all platforms at this point. Black Myth Wukong had a new trailer release for it, and god dang, does this look good. This is releasing on the 20th of August, so it's just right around the corner. This is a new Souls-like-esque experience where you play as a monkey man, and there's a bunch of crazy shit going on. I don't even know what to really say, but the trailer was very well done, very flashy. Definitely gave you everything you want. A little bit of combat, a little bit of craziness, a little bit of whatever. They also showed off this like big burly character who had like a flamethrower attack and like a heavy axe. So it seems like maybe you'll be able to transform into these other creatures, because there was also another creature who had like tentacle arms coming out. There's another one that had like a gun that it was shooting practically. So I'm wondering if you'll be able to maybe once you kill like a boss or something like that, inhabit them and play as them. Might be kind of cool. So yeah, it's coming to PS5 exclusive at this point, and you know they said that it wasn't meant to be exclusive. It just kind of happened. PlayStation didn't pay them to put it on only PlayStation. This is kind of the way that it went with how the development went. But this looks really good. Definitely gonna check this out when it comes out for sure. And once again, it's coming out on the 20th of August. Fortnite is adding in a bunch of Disney/Marvel skins to the game with its next content update, and there will be even more announced throughout the entire Season 4 and beyond. The ones that are going to be that were announced today, I'm pretty sure this happened during like a Comic-Con or whatever, but the ones that were announced for the becoming are Gwenpool, War Machine, Peelverine, which is a banana that wears the Wolverine costume, Emma Frost, Captain Jonesy, Mysterio, Shuri, Doctor Doom, all four of the Fantastic Four, Sabretooth, Meowscles, Fishpool, Corella, Corella Deville? What? Captain Hook? They're putting Captain Hook in the game. Maleficent? How the fuck do you say this? Maleficent? Yeah, whatever. Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, Frozone, IG-11, Grogu Back Bling, and Moff Gideon. I don't know who was asking for Moff Gideon, but that old fuck is going to be in the game too, huh? And apparently there's even more. That are coming out. Here are some other leaks that I don't know if these are actually true, but apparently it's going to be a Darkwing Duck and Gargoyle skin, along with a Kingdom Hearts collab in the future. So there you go. I think that I also believe I saw that they were bringing back skins from older seasons to be purchasable, just so all the skins will be available from like the different properties that they own. So I guess that's also another way for them to make massive amounts of money. Moving right along. I probably should have put this one a bit sooner, but Doom plus Doom 2 is coming out on the PS4, PS5, Xbox, and Switch. Essentially, this is a new version of the games. If you already own the original Doom and Doom 2 games, it'll be free to download. But if you want to buy them either separately or in a bundle, I believe they're each available for $10, or the bundle's like $20 or $15. So you get Doom 2, TNT Evolution, the Platuna Experiment, Masters Levels of Doom 2, No Rest for the Living, Sigil, and Legacy of Rust in this little combo pack. It'll also include a deathmatch map pack featuring 26 all-new arenas, taking the overall total of content up to 187 mission maps and 43 multiplayer maps. In addition to that, there is also a full cross-play competitive multiplayer mode and a co-op mode with mod support as well. The original soundtrack is included, or you can choose the remaster soundtrack by Andrew Hulshult. The gameplay will run at 4K 120 FPS on PS5 and Xbox Series X. They also announced that there is a SNES limited run standard edition and collector's edition for the original Doom. So this will include all 4 Doom episodes, including the flesh consumed, added circle strafe, performance improvements, monster respawning on nightmare difficulty, level codes, rumble support via the all-new controller. It'll also include the instruction booklet, a retro box, a gun metal colored cartridge, and of course a poster of the game as well. The gun metal cartridge, I don't think it's playable. I think it's just a collector's edition item, just like Doom 64 that I have on my shelf. So that's kind of kind of bizarre. The collector's edition is pretty much all the same stuff, except you also get an individually numbered certification of authenticity for the gun, metal, colored cart with blood splatter paint and metal plate labels. So you're paying a little bit of extra money for a, I guess, bloody / metallic version of the item. I did not see a price tag for that, but it's limited to 666 copies for the collector's edition. The standard edition will, of course, be limited to how many people order it. I'm sure they'll make more than they need. The physical release will arrive sometime in 2025. So details will be revealed in the future for pricing and pre-ordering. Also, the Doom Anthology was announced, which includes every single game in the Doom catalog. Doom 1, Doom 2, Doom 64, Doom 3, Doom Reboot, and Doom Eternal will all be available in one big anthology. This is all a part of the QuakeCon celebration. Bethesda announced the Doom Anthology will be available for $80. It'll have a exclusive steelbook and a 5-inch replica of the big fucking gun with LED lights and stand. The only caveat to this is that the steelbook is literally just a box. There is nothing inside of it except a code to download the games, which is pretty unfortunate. You know, they could at least put like Doom 1 through 3 on the disc, or Doom 1 and Doom 2014 and Doom Eternal on like a disc. I don't know why they did this. Just having a random empty steelbook on your shelf, that'll be pretty cool. Also, there's been cooler versions of the BFG, bigger versions of the BFG that were in other collector's editions before. So really, this one doesn't seem to be that worth it, especially if you already own a copy of Doom and Doom Eternal, and like me, if you already own Doom 64 and Doom 3 physically. Well, I guess Doom 3 I don't own physically, but on Steam, it's also like, okay, what? I'm getting Doom 1 and 2 for $80. Yeah, not going to happen. But pre-orders for those are now live if you want to check that out. And then finally for today, here are some games leaving PlayStation Plus Extra Tier later this month. They are Destroy All Humans 1 and 2 Reprobed, Lost Judgment, Midnight Fight Express, Moving Out 2, NBA 2K24, Need for Speed Unbound, Sea of Stars, Spellforce 3 Reforced, and Trials of Mana. All of those are leaving PlayStation Plus on August 20th, around August 20th, they said. So out of those games, I guess Sea of Stars would be the standout there. A lot of people really loved that game, very reminiscent of the old school Final Fantasy games. Obviously, Destroy All Humans 1 and 2, very campy, very fun games. You know, maybe a bit dated in terms of its comedy, but you know, still pretty fun. Moving Out 2 was just a little fun multiplayer game. Check that out. And Midnight Fight Express was pretty well received when it came out. Also, Need for Speed Unbound was also pretty well received as well. So if you want to check those out, there you go. Okay, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. I do appreciate that. We should get back to our regularly scheduled content this week with streams and stuff like that. So there you go. If you want to check me out, it's twitch.tv/YemmyTheFerret. We stream Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. Obviously, my schedule was a bit fucked with this past week, so we didn't get to finish Wario Land 3 or start a new game, but I'm guessing we'll finish Wario Land 3 either the same day that I'm recording this or on Monday. And everything else is all at Yemmy the Ferret, whether it be YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, etc. I'm Yemmy the Ferret, and I'm out of here. Have a good rest of your week and or weekend. So long.
The Ferret 64 podcast is owned and edited by Yemmy the Ferret. The song Nightshade, used in the intro and outro, is owned by Adhesive Wombat. Small sound clips during the podcast were made by Yemmy the Ferret. News sources include NintendoLife.com, PushSquare.com, and PureXbox.com. All opinions video game related are my own. Thank you for listening.